Hey guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. Today we're talking all things credit knowledge and borrowing responsibly. Now, this video is brought in partnership with Mr. Price Money, and it's so important for you to remember that none of the videos that we do on this channel constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody that is certified and registered with the FSCA. So let's talk a little bit. I want you to imagine you are a recent graduate or you're somebody that's been seeking employment for such a long time, and eventually you secure your dream job. However, the week before you actually start your job, you are going through your cupboard because you want to plan the most perfect outfit for this job. Now, I know there's a saying that says, dress for the job that you don't have. But this time, you actually have the job and you want to impress. You want to impress your colleagues. You want to feel good yourself. You want to impress your bosses. And you want to show them that you are ready for this position that you are taking up. You open your cupboard and oopsie daisy, you are not finding the right clothes to be able to put together that outfit that you are looking for. In your cupboard, they're just not coming together. And then you cast your eye further into your cupboard and you realize that actually I don't have the clothes that I'm looking for, to bowl everybody over at this new job. I actually don't have them. So you start now, potentially considering taking a small loan or maybe opening a store card with a small limit just so that you can buy these clothes that you are looking for that are going to help you in asserting yourself in the new job, right? And then, of course, the negative connotations that come with it, and you're worried that what if I cannot actually pay for this? And this is exactly what we're talking about. We want to make sure that you are armed with the right credit knowledge, but also the good habits to borrow responsibly so that you don't put yourself in financial distress if you are going to go down that route. So what are some of the things that are going to ensure that you do have the right credit knowledge, but also are borrowing responsibly? The number one thing, again, is understanding credit facilities. How do they work? What governs credit facilities and what rights you have as a consumer? The first one, it's important to understand how the credit facility that you want to use actually works. I always say one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make is that they take the wrong credit facility for the wrong need or want. What do I mean by this? It's like taking a makeup brush and you're using the foundation brush to try and put an eyeshadow. But now the foundation brush is this big and your lid is so small. So for you to try and put yellow on this and then you want to put pink here, you want to put green here, it's impossible to do it with the foundation brush because it's too big. Most people, when they do look for loans or they do look for credit, they always take more than they actually need, and that puts them in a position where the repayment becomes impossible. Then you've got to know the structures that are put in place to help you with credit agreements. The National Credit Act will stipulate how credit agreements are supposed to be. The National Credit Regulator will then step in if there's going to be issues, how your credit provider treats you, what the interest rate that they're offering you on various credit facilities. All of those things work hand in hand to make sure that you, as the consumer, are protected from any type of exploitation. But also at the same time, you need to do your part to make sure credit providers are giving you the facility that you actually need. And the third thing is that it is important that credit providers are also lending out responsibly. So there's a thing called reckless lending, where a credit provider may offer you a credit agreement or offer you a credit facility where they did not do reasonable assessment on your affordability and your risk status. So if you're not in a good position to be given any type of credit access, you should not be given that. And if it does so happen, that is constitutes as a reckless lending, and the National Credit Regulator can actually prosecute that credit provider. The second thing is the golden rule. The golden rule says do not borrow more than you can actually repay. So if you are unable to repay a certain amount of money, do not borrow money that is going to force you into a position where you are feeling like you are drowning every single month. What is the first step that you need to take to make sure that that golden rule stays in place? You need to sit down and actually do your budget and look at how much breathing room do you actually have to be able to service this new loan, this new store card that you're wanting to take up. It's so important that you don't go over your limit, because the moment you do that, that's when things start to feel like they're a little dizzy. Every month when the debit orders go off and you just get a little bit dizzy because you actually are not sure if you're going to be able to keep up till the end of the month and when your next payment comes in. This also means that you need to be honest with not only yourself as a person, but also when you're doing that credit application, make sure you're being honest with the credit provider so that you are not misrepresenting yourself and they give you a bigger loan or they give you a bigger limit in your store card and now you are unable to pay that back. So that's also very, very important. I would say, for instance, if you want to step into a Mr. Price, for instance, and you want to use their store card, make sure that you know the structures of the store card and that facility. One that you can actually take advantage of is the fact that they have what is called a rewards program. So they want to incentivize wellness within the financial space and financial consumer behavior. So they give you incentives when you are spending and you are borrowing well. They've got things like data, things like vouchers, things like airtime. So all of those become incentives for you to be able to use their store card. And last but not least, and probably one of the most important thing, is do not let interest win. Remember how interest works. It's so important to understand the relationship that exists between the interest rate that you are given, the limit or the outstanding balance that you've got on your credit account, plus the amount of years or months that you have to pay. All of those numbers play and have a role to play in terms of how much you end up paying overall, and if you will be in a good space to be able to repay back your credit agreement. It's so important. So what we always say to people is, if you have an opportunity to pay even just the smallest a little bit amount of money over and above, so the extra amount of money that you can pay over and above what you actually are supposed to pay every single month, do take that opportunity, because it will really be helpful in terms of making sure that you overall pay less in interest, pay quicker, but also you don't want to get to a point where you are defaulting on your payments and you are ruining your credit score. And the day when you actually need to use the credit score to get access to buying big ticket item purchases like a car or like a house, and you need your credit score to be in good state or in good position so that you can negotiate better terms and conditions, now you cannot. So it's important to make sure that you are taking care of all of those things. Remember, with greater power, read as credit, comes greater responsibility.